Hi, I'm Toy Lei with Educator.com, and this course is AJAX and jQuery. Today we're going to be talking about jQuery events. This is going to be getting exciting. We've already touched upon the event. You've got the click event. We've been using click event all up and down, but you know there's a lot more events out there that we can do. Today we're going to touch on a few of them. So let's review click. Basically, it means that I have a button, I click on it. I have an image, I click on it. Click is probably the most used event out there on any web page. All we do is we point and we click. Point and click. Click, 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 click. We hit the button, we click. Anything that we do, we click. So to kind of remind you of what that is about, I've set up my standard play area here. The left side over here is just kind of elements that we can play with, and the right side over here is the things we're supposed to do, the playing that we're supposed to do onto my elements. Okay, so let's do this. Right now it doesn't do anything. None of this does anything. But let's start off with that click button here. Okay, what do we want it to do? All right, well, it's pretty simple. Let's start it off. J dot, now what was the name again? Click A. Dot click. Now this is exactly the event that we're talking about. So, but basically, here's the noun, which is the element click A. And here's the verb. When we click on it, let's do the preposition or whatever, the responding noun. Let's give an alert to say that we clicked. All right, let's try it. That didn't work. Now, why is that? Oh, I missed the parentheses. Bam, clicked. Okay. Similarly, there's a double click event. So instead of typing that over, I'm just going to copy and paste. I know that this one's called, I don't know anything. This one's called double click A. Okay. Now the event for double click is called DBL click. Okay, so once again, noun, verb, do something. Just a test. That was a single click. It didn't do anything. Exactly right. So let's double click. Double clicked. Okay. Pop up. Double clicked. All right. Pretty awesome. Easy peasy, right? Well, let's keep going on. Let's keep moving with the events. Let's do a hover. So I think that's called hover A. Yep. And the hover is event. And we're going to alert it. And we're going to call this we're going to call it hovered. Hovering. Okay, cool. Let's try it. I didn't click. I just hovered over it, meaning I'm just rolling onto it. Okay. If I were to actually click, it won't do anything. But if I roll out and I roll back in, I'm hovering. Okay? Mouse up and down me. Ooh, sounds fun. Okay. mouse A. Now we haven't seen this before. We can actually put an argument inside the function. And what that is it returns the argument back to us. So we can say alert mouse up. Oops, here we go. Event type. Type is a property of the event object. You'll see what it says once we get there. Better yet, this play area, let's use a checkbox because we don't need that. Let's use a checkbox. This checkbox is called here. ID, CBI. Let's use that. I think the class is also CBI, so I think that'll work too. Let's try that. So if I click on, okay, I'm pressing down. It's not doing jack. But that's because the event was the mouse up event. So if I mouse up, nothing happens. That's not right. All right. Did I spell everything right? All right, just so I don't do anything weird, let's do this. Pound CBI, mouse up, function event, alert mouse up, checkbox. Let's just do that so I don't go crazy. And let's reload that. There we go. Okay, so just to make sure that you know that I'm doing this and it's really the mouse up, I'm clicking down, nothing's happening. But I click up, checkbox mouse up. Similarly, I could do the same thing for mouse down now. Okay, so if I push this down, it should say mouse down. And it did after I... Oh, you know why? Let's do the radio button, so it's not gonna, I know I'm not gonna. Radio I. Let's put this back where it belongs. Okay. Mouse down. Mouse up. All right. Similarly, we can also do the keyboard stuff. So we have a thing right here, a text box, which is not doing anything right now. Let's find the information on it. And it is IGTB. On key down, text box. Now let's get the event type. Now I can sit here and click on it all day long. It's not going to do anything. As soon as I hit a button, a key, then it starts doing something. There you go, text box, key down. Key down. Awesome. Similarly, I could do that with the key up. Take the caps lock off. Okay, I'm here. I could sit and click on it all day long. Not going to do anything. But I put the key down, I get this here. I put the key up, I also get that there. So I got a key down and a key up. Key down, key up. Awesome. We can also change the setting for the radio buttons. Should we do that? We can check if that anything has changed. There's a change event. So if I'm going to get rid of this radio stuff up there because I don't want it to interfere and cause some residual actions that we don't know where it's coming from. But we can check if the radio thing has been changed, whether the state of it's been on or off. We can alert to $J this dot attribute checked. Now let's get rid of this stuff up here so I don't confuse with some crazy alert boxes flashing on and off. Okay, so checkbox. I'm changing the type over here, and it does nothing. Pound radio I, change alert. This might be one of those things where I can't really use this, but let's try it again. Check radio. Oh, it's because I hit the wrong button. The checkbox is the checkbox, and the little round thing is the radio button. So let's click on that. That didn't work either. All right, let's do this. Okay. Why isn't that working? Alert. Pound radio I, change function. There's something going on here. I think I'm missing a, that's why. I'm missing a parentheses. Okay, let's try it now. Checked. You know what? Let's change this to radio because I can't uncheck that radio button without having other radio buttons. So let's do the CBI here. Get rid of this CBI here. Okay, if I check the checkbox, attribute checked. Oh. Checked. Undefined. Basically, when something is unchecked, it's not unchecked. It's called undefined. So that's correct. So if I click on the button, click on the box, and it's checked. It says checked. If I unclick it, it goes back to being undefined. We can also do things like trigger. That's kind of cool. It means like sleight of hand. It means like I do something over here, it makes something over here happen. Okay? So we're going to do this here. Trigger the radio button example. I'm going to change that to checkbox example. Trigger the check box. So we already have this working here, where it's checking and alerting. Now, what we're going to do with trigger is click on this button and have that checkbox still alerting. Kind of cool. So let's do this. So when I click on this trigger A here, I'm going to trigger off. I'm going to trigger that checkbox. And then because it's triggered, because it's checkbox is changing, it's also going to alert me. This is kind of going a chain of events going on here. Dot pound CBI dot change trigger change. Let's try that. Trigger is undefined because it was checked before, now it's unchecked. Trigger it again, we should check that. It should if you look at the checkbox, it should check it this time. It didn't do it. Wonder why. Trigger change. Oh, that's why. It is doing it. It's triggering the change event, which doesn't actually check or uncheck. Okay? Me hitting this thing sets off the event, plus it actually does the behavior that's built in. But if I'm going to trigger something, this change doesn't actually check the box. It just triggers the change event. And then this change event pops off an alert. So just so you know that we're not going crazy, I'm going to add something here. Triggered. Triggered, undefined. All right. Now, all of these events that I've showed you are basically just kind of shortcut ways of one master command called the bind. Okay. These are all kind of shorthand ways of doing a bind, executing a bind command. Okay. So let's do a bind, just in case you want to, for the future. And we're going to say .j. I think it's bind A, right? That little area? Yeah, bind A. Bind. And we're going to bind the click. And let's alert it. Okay, so this click function here is actually just a shorthand version of writing all this bind click. Saves you a word and a comma. That's what it means. Okay, so let's try this. There you go. Now all of these ride along this event bubble. Okay, so basically if I'm triggering and I'm using this bind and it's triggering off a series of things, and when does it stop? That's called the event bubble. Does it go on to the next set of elements that are in the chain, or does it stop? So we're going to do this here. Where I'm going to do some stuff here so that it'll trigger down long down the line. Okay, so let's pick up line LA. What is that from? .lia. Here it is. Okay, that corresponds to this thing here. There we go. We see it popping in there. All right. When I click on this link, once again, I can grab the event also, so I could use it for my own nefarious needs. Okay, so if I click on here, line item A clicked. Now if I added an event dot stop propagation, let's see what that does. Okay, just making sure I didn't make any typos. Very possible I make tons of typos. It keeps doing it. Now here's the thing, if I click on the trigger button and I hit an event stop propagation, what does it do? It doesn't bring up that alert box because it doesn't send that trigger along. Let's take that out. So the alert box should pop up. Oops, hovering. There you go. Let's stop the propagation, stop the bubbling up of the trigger. Box doesn't come up. All right? One last thing. This is probably the most important. When you start using a lot of AJAX, you're getting really complex pages and you're getting these lots of data back with lots of stuff in it from your AJAX call, you're going to absolutely need to know this command, this method called live. Okay, all of this stuff First, your page gets rendered with HTML page source. And then after, what this command says here is when the document is ready, after all of your HTML source has been put in, then go ahead and attach all these additional behaviors to these functions and these elements and these elements and the events of the elements. Add all these additional functions, whatever. The issue is that this attachment only happens once in the life cycle of the page, and that's after the page has been rendered. Right after the page has been rendered. Now think about it. When you're doing all the AJAX stuff and you're replacing parts of your document, parts of your DOM with new AJAX generated stuff, then all of those events, all of these events here that we've added are gone. And all of a sudden your buttons don't work anymore. What Live does is that it maintains those relationships that you had built before onto the new data that's now coming in from the AJAX call. And again, it's really kind of hard to show without AJAX stuff around, but I just wanted you to know of it and be aware of it, so that when we get to it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that before. If you want to take some extra initiative, look it up online, try to incorporate it into your code right now, see if you can make it work. Now, FYI, since the time of when I was prepping this lesson to now when I'm shooting it, jQuery came up with a new revision, and now they're starting to use, instead of live, they're starting to use on. So it would be like JA instead of live, on. And while I've been working and building live sites and stuff like this, I've actually tried to use on several times, and it was really inconsistent. It wasn't really working great. Now, since this video will hopefully go on and for a long time, this might be a done deal, it might be over, this might be irrelevant. But if you're just watching this now, just after I shot it, if on doesn't work, then use live. If live doesn't work, then use on, because they're trying to deprecate live. Okay, so thank you again for watching the lesson on jQuery events in the AJAX jQuery course. My name is Toy. I'm here for educator.com.